This is the plaintiff, Michaela Marie Sweet. She says she purchased an Apple TV device from the defendant, but never received it in the mail. She's tired of all the defendant's lame excuses and is suing for the $130.98. She's owed. This is the defendant, Jade Alexander Kelly. She says she shipped the Apple TV to the address the plaintiff provided. She never got it back in the mail and has no idea what the plaintiff did with the thing and owes nothing. She's accused of not completing a sale.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says she purchased an Apple TV from the defendant, but guess what? She never received it. The defendant says she sent it in the mail to the address she was given and is not returning any money. It's the case of, I'm not mailing it in.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Sweet, you are suing Ms. Kelly because you purchased an Apple TV box from her and you never got it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what happened.
I had asked her via Facebook if she could ship me this Apple TV device, and she said she would, and asked to ship to Mass.
But was it for sale on Facebook Marketplace or something?
Yes.
Like you saw it for sale?
Yes.
Okay.
And we agreed that she would ship it, and she gave me the total cost, the $7 shipping fee, and the cost of the item. And I gave her my address. Of course, autocorrect said AM, but it was really just MA. It just did that. And I never got it. And
Massachusetts?
I kept asking her, yes. I kept asking her over time.
And it auto-corrected to AM?
Because when I do MA, sometimes it doesn't recognize it, and it just says AM, like the radio station.
Okay.
And I shipped it. I asked her to ship it, and time went by, and I asked her for like at least a tracking number.
I have a question. Stop a second. How is it that you gave her your address? Through text? Through Facebook Marketplace? How?
Through Messenger on Facebook.
Okay. So go on.
So I had asked her to ship it, and she said she did, and I asked her for at least a tracking number because a week went by, and I called her post office, and they said without any proof that she sent it, they couldn't help me. And after some time, I went through PayPal to try to get my money back, and they told me because she had taken the money out of her account and that she had already used the money, they couldn't help me.
That's silly. I don't know why they would say that to you. Did you miss the deadline for doing it or something?
I guess because it was friends and family, and it wasn't goods and services.
Yeah.
And they don't guarantee friends and family.
Okay, so Ms. Kelly, what happened here? What happened here?
So she wanted the 4K TV device from me, and I offered
Why were you selling it?
Her because my husband was murdered last year, leaving me with 2 small kids, and I started selling stuff so that I could. Thank you. And I started selling some things that I didn't need anymore to try and make money to take care of them. And one of those things was that device.
Can I ask you how was he murdered? How did that happen?
Basically, there was a deal with a family member and one of her friends that went down the wrong way, and an altercation ensued. And at the end of it was his homicide.
Was anybody charged?
It's still being investigated.
Do you know who the people are?
Yeah. One of them was a family member and the other was her friend.
A family member of his or of yours?
It was an in-law of his.
Okay. How old are your kids?
At the time, they were 1 and 3. Now they're 3 and 4.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
So
you're selling the 4K.
Right. For $130. Well, for what I had asked for plus the shipping fee. And I told her $130. I went to a store with my best friend, and as I was getting out of the car, I heard my phone ding, and I said to her, see if that's her, tell her to send the address. Well, I guess she sent the address, and like she said, the address was incorrect. And
okay, what state is AM?
I don't know, but I didn't look at it. When I went back to look at the address, I just hit search conversation. And
you actually did look at it because you sent her a text saying you wrote AM, but you told me you were from Massachusetts. You meant MA, right? You texted her that because I read
that was my friend texting her.
Right, and your friend tells you Massachusetts.
Relay the message to me. No, she didn't relay the message to me.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I sent it.
Come on, Ms. Kelly.
I just typed in
what are you just thought it was AM? You thought there was a state called AM. How did you mail it?
By mail.
What vehicle did you use?
At
U.S.
the post
Postal
office.
Service? At the post office.
No, at the
Do you
post
have a
office.
tracking
They
number?
wait on a little.
Do you have a
I
tracking
don't
number?
This happened so long ago that.
Well, did you have a tracking number when you mailed it?
When I mailed it at the time.
So why didn't you just give her the tracking number when she asked you for it?
Because at the time I was going through a lot of things when she kept asking me for it, and then after that I was in the hospital. And
What
I
were
told
you in
her
the
I was
hospital
more
for?
than
I'm
willing.
so sorry. What were you in the hospital for?
Welcome back to the People's Court. The plaintiff is saying she bought an Apple TV from the defendant she didn't receive, but the defendant is trying to explain to the judge right now why she was hospitalized. Let's go back into the courtroom.
I had a placental abruption. I was pregnant, and I had a placental abruption, and I ended up having my baby 9 weeks early.
Oh, goodness. Okay, that's not with the victim of the homicide. That's after
It was
that.
a completely it was a separate situation,
Okay.
but it went on for so long because she'd wait a while to message me, and then I was in the hospital, and I told her, look, I'm in the hospital. I don't have time to deal with this right
Listen,
now.
I hear the things you're saying, and I'm sorry for the stuff that you've gone through, but I don't see how you get around paying this lady her money back, because in a million years, I'm looking at these texts, and these texts are with you, okay? You read, let me call for the shipping amount. So it's not too bad. It's $127 to ship to Massachusetts, yada, yada, yada. So you know it's Massachusetts. Why then should I believe that you mailed it to a state called AM and it's gone forever and it's her fault from a typo that you caught right away? So it's just silly. If you or your agent knows it's Massachusetts, write Massachusetts. But here's the thing. Let's assume you had written AM. If you put the correct zip code, it was going to get to her anyway. And it didn't get to her. So it would either get to her or, I know it didn't. I know it didn't. Or it would get back to you. So one of two things happened, okay? It got lost in the mail, or you never even mailed it and you sold it to someone else. Those are the only two things that could happen. But either way, I know it didn't get to her because you can't provide proof that it got to her. If anything, the proof you are attempting to provide is that it could never have gotten to her because after knowing the correct state, you wrote AM anyway. It's just silly. I mean, you got to pay her. So my verdict is for the plaintiff in this case in the amount of $130.98.
Sweet.
So the plaintiff prevails. She's going to get the $130 back. Ms. Kelly, the defendant, let me talk to you. You heard the judge, and she outlined all the possibilities here. She's convinced you didn't send it, or you sent it to the wrong place. What do you think? What's your answer?
I mean, it is what it is. It went out. It was in the beginning of coronavirus, and it never made it back to me. She's claiming it never made it to her, so.
All right, listen, I'm sorry about that, but you're going to have to give her the $130. That's the judge's decision. All right, let's talk to Ms. Sweet now. Ms. Sweet, you've been trying to get this for some time. Have you you didn't buy it anywhere else, did you? You're still waiting for it?
No, I ended up going through another person on Facebook, and she gave me the tracking number within 5 minutes of me purchasing it. I wanted it, and I couldn't wait any longer.
So you did get it. All right. Well, I'm sorry you had the problem with it, but you did the right thing by filing a lawsuit. All right. We appreciate it. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see what the judges think about this now. Here's another session of After the Verdict.
Hearing the testimony in this case, it occurred to me there's a lot of things that we're not 100% certain about in life. We don't know if alien visitors have really come to this world before. We don't know if Elvis is really dead or alive, but we really know for certain she never sent the Apple TV to the plaintiff, right?
I kind of feel that way. I got to be honest with you. I really do feel that way. Like she just never sent it.
And when you have a party to a lawsuit who, I mean, God bless her, she may have had some tragedies in her life, but when the lead-in to the complaint or the answer is all about those personal tragedies, that's kind of a tell that maybe there's not a good defense or not a good claim.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and that it might be a plea of sympathy. I mean, she has had a tough time, but frankly, it was more years ago than I thought it was.
Yeah.
She's selling stuff a couple years after, so I don't think it had anything to do with the case.
No.
Yeah.
So Carmela wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, Do you have any idea how many cases the People's Court has adjudicated over its history? By the way, that's 36 years of People's Court, and I do. The total number is 16,860 cases. That is 12 years for Judge Wapner and 24 years for the current show. By the way, we have done 6,236 shows. I'm exhausted. We'll see you next time.